11. Good morning.
Half a day.
Also, the KUAM news app, KUAM.com. There's an audio stream on Docomo Channel 10. And, of course, on the Facebook live feed of KUAM News and on KUAM TV 11 until 8 a.m. It's 7:01 now. We'll keep it going and head back into the link Zoom room where we have the Historic Preservation, Tourism, Justice, Health and Culture Chair, Senator Therese Terlaje. Good morning, Senator.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
I know you have a few things that you wanted to talk about, but I think one of the most urgent ones is there's a meeting this morning on the programmatic agreement, and this one kind of snuck under our radar. I guess would be an easy way to characterize it. So we'll just go ahead and give you the floor. Tell us about this meeting, why you think people need to go, and what you plan on saying there.
Well, actually, we just found out about this meeting about a day ago or 2 days ago, and it's not going to be open to the public. My understanding is it's not going to be open to the media. We were hardly invited. I mean, it was the SHPO who's saying he's bringing me in as his guest. So it's a very different meeting than it was in the past couple of years. I think we've been able to expand it in the past couple of years, and now we're very limited. One point they told me it's going to be 16 people in the room, and that's all. So of course I'm a little bit concerned about just getting the word out about what's being said in these are annual meetings that we talk about the programmatic agreement, and this is where we're supposed to resolve, kind of lay out the progress of what properties have been nominated to the National Register, and more importantly discuss resolution of stipulations that have been filed, or like what they're going to do with burials and different things, and their progress in all of those efforts. Mm-hmm. But I'm just concerned. It's always been an effort, I think, to get in these discussions, and so I just want the public to know that these are going to take place. And I'm hoping, I asked the SHPO yesterday if he could keep the media informed about, regularly about what's happening in this meeting. It's a day-long meeting. It goes from 8 to 4. It was postponed. It was supposed to be held, I think, in April, but it was postponed because of the health emergency.
Senator, I'm sorry about just a technical issue. Is your phone up? Because we're getting a little bit of feedback. It's coming from somewhere.
Oh, sorry.
All right.
Sorry, I think that was the radio.
Okay,
yeah.
all right, okay.
Is this a face-to-face meeting or is this a virtual meeting?
Apparently, it's going to be face-to-face at the museum. It's the same room that they've used before. It's a very small room. And so I'm surprised, that they didn't look for a bigger venue and try to incorporate the same amount of people, at least, that they had last year.
Is COVID a reason that they're saying that the public's not invited?
Yes. Well, I'm not privy even to the discussions at this point, to be honest. So all I know is that they're saying they're going to limit it to 16 because of the venue. I was told months ago that they were looking for another way to do this so that they could, continue like a bigger venue or, some other way so that they could include everyone.
Aside from yourself and the SHPO, who else is going to be participating in this meeting that you're aware of?
Well, the meeting is for sure for parties who are signatories to the programmatic agreement, and that includes it should be, and I'm going to confirm at 8 this morning when I get there. It should be the Department of Chamorro's Affairs is a signatory, the Guam Preservation Trust, and and then of course many federal partners,
right? Including the SHPO.
Yes.
Right, Senator. Yes, I got to ask you because we had seen in the hearing where there was a reveal from the SHPO, and it was kind of interesting that it was revealed in the middle of a hearing, and then we're finding about this meeting, a couple days before it happens. How do we improve the community? Because the SHPO is there; he's the one that's communicating with the military on all these things, right? So how do we improve and maybe have more access to what's going on? Because I feel like a lot of this stuff is just popping up and nobody knows, and I don't know if it's the SHPO's not telling anybody or if Adelup is not doing a good job of, getting the info that he has out to the public. But yeah, it really, I mean, it's alarming how much we are in the dark. And a lot of me is not surprised. Like anytime we have this military news that comes out like, oh, it's a secret meeting, I'm like, of course, that's just the military, right? But what, and I guess we'll start, you can respond to the SHPO question, but then my second question would be, what is the remedy for the people of Guam?
Well, good questions, Chris. That is, I feel every time we make progress. For example, we were never invited to these meetings, and when I became a senator, that's what I insisted on. That and to Linda's credit, she found a way. She got us into these meetings, and she made us welcome, and we were able to provide input. I think that's the most important part, and is that they hear the Guam perspective. But yeah, no, it's really a lot of this depends on the SHPO. We have to, we've tried to put some money over at the Department of, the Division of Historic Preservation in order that they have a person who is able to get everything out to the public. That's my goal. I feel like there's none of this information that should be held privately. It really belongs to all of the people of Guam, and the more they know, the more we can participate, and the more we can do something about it. For example, that burial, after I found out about that burial, I was shocked and very, very upset, actually. And but I found out after that there are actually more burials in the same area. So it's like burial grounds, so it's not a random finding. It was, but if you see how they do these things, they're, they look at the ground, and if they see something significant, for example, a bone, or they will then, mark off an area, and that's the area that they're going to study further or recover the data. And that's when they start to, and then when they start, find more, that's when they dig more. But it's not the entire area that we know what really was down there. Right. It's just spots, So for example, I saw there are 3 remaining areas that have been marked off, kind of circles that they are concerned about because they found something like, I think, bones in these areas. And so those are the 3 areas they're still resolving. The rest of the property, been cleared completely.
Right.
They don't just clear the top; they clear it all the way down.
Yeah, Senator, and I think with this whole process. With this construction of these firing ranges, in the beginning, it was like, oh, the detractors were saying, oh, it's pottery shards. What's the big deal? And they find one thing after another. And now we're finding our ancestors buried. And I'm just wondering, where's the response? I mean, other than, from you and some of the activist groups, I'm wondering why Adelup isn't coming down and, making some noise about this, because I think it's huge.
Chris, I got a call in my office, and this man was a little bit irate with my staff. He was very upset. And so when I finally got on the phone to talk to him, come to find out, it's just he's upset about these burials, and it's that feeling that he described it, of course, like gof piniti, right? It hurts. It's something you don't want to hear about your ancestors, and of course people now we're all imagining, what is there, what it must be like, but we're just not privy, and that's very upsetting. So
yeah, I don't understand.
This is something I feel like, this is our last shot at this kind of stuff. We have to get together, and we've got to stand up to these things.
Right. And I mean, Senator, it's also disturbing that we don't see any pictures. We don't see, the military doesn't. I couldn't even get pictures of the laddies at Fina Lake when I asked the Joint Region for it. It's crazy because they can't take pictures because of whatever nuclear stuff they got down there.
You can't even go there.
Right. Yeah.
You're right. Oh.
I tried to go on a tour, Senator, and I reached out to Joint Region. And I was like, hey, you guys keep saying that you're taking care of these cultural properties, so
show us.
Put me on a tour. Let's go to Fina Lake. And the response was no. So I was like, okay, well, send me some pictures. No. So yeah,
yes, right. They have such strict rules because they're, they don't want. Even on the construction sites, they don't want any pictures taken. I mean, it's it's really disheartening, and I just feel like that's what's missing. Is like if we don't all get to see that, we don't all get to feel that, and you don't get the real impact. You can be told in a library about this, it's not the same as being out there and seeing what is going on. And you're right, it's not, they find pottery and they say it's insignificant, and they find laddie stones and lusong,
Those are
and
insignificant.
then they're not insignificant.
And now our ancestors are insignificant. Yeah. Senator, so keep us posted on that. And I know, because we're really tight on time this morning. I know that you had also written a letter to the Budget and Finance Chair, Senator Joseph Augustine, about what the Republicans have called the facade of a fiscal projection. So we'll just go into that. Your letter to the senator, give us the gist, the long and short.
Sure. Pretty much we got called to session, and apparently it was for the budget. So we're going to go into session on Monday for the budget, and I was just concerned that, it's really hard to work on a budget on the spot and to give it the thought that it deserves. So I was very concerned that we had not decided on some final revenue numbers before we go in there, and that we should try to get some kind of consensus. So I wrote a letter, and I laid out what I had laid out in some in earlier letters and in meetings and at public hearings, and most of the information that I really think we as senators need. I was hoping to get from the Department of Administration or BBMR, the administration, and they're not providing it to us. So I was hoping that they're providing it to the OFB, and I've asked the chair to help to get this information. And I know that they have been working very hard with the administration to get the same information. And as of yesterday, when at the press conference that Senator San Augustine had, it sounds like they're still waiting for from the administration these new budget amounts or expenditure amounts based on the new revenue amounts. Now, I want to commend OFB that they've actually got the administration to get off that there will be no adjustments to the budget at all, down to a very significant change to now we are looking at a reduced revenue amount, and we are going to work hard to make that work. And so I'm very glad for that. I think there's still information that would be very useful to us that we have not received. For example, the information on the CARES expenditure. For example, if they are going to be able to use that at the Department of Environmental Health to boost up their inspection capacity, then that's great. Then we don't have to find general funds to boost that capacity, or the tracing capacity. Of course, that's supposed to be done with federal funds. And I just want to see confirmation. We overrode Bill 337 to get that type of transparency on the federal expenditures, and we want to see those reports. The other thing I want to see is, they've never put the $10 million to the hospital like we put into the last budget, and here we are moving into the next budget, and so the reason that they give us is that because they haven't finished the 2019 audit. And that's because one agency hasn't submitted their information for us to finish the 2019 audit. And of course, I just find as senators, how do you expect us to do a budget with this kind of information? And we should know, what type of deficit did they actually pay down, like they said they would, with the 2019 excess revenues? Are there any other excess revenues that they haven't spent? Because that would be very significant for us right now, don't you think? And the and the other thing is, we asked when they make these revenue projections, we receive from BBMR this revenue report every month, but it's for the prior month. And everyone told us to wait for July, because that's when income taxes would be filed, or that's the new due date was July. And that's when we would know better whether our formulas are working, or whether we're receiving what we anticipated for 2020. And so the numbers are in, but the reports are not. They're not due till August 20. By that time, we're almost at the end of our budget, deadline. And so that's why I'm asking for that information up front. And whatever formula they want to use, I'm not the formula expert, but I just want to know what it is. And I want it to be explained very thoroughly, because we are going to be the ones to vote on it. It's our responsibility. It's our duty. And it's my duty to be able to go out to the public and say, I acted responsibly. I did not act, neglectfully. I didn't act recklessly by, predicting we're going to have all this money that we are not going to have. And I did not put your, jobs on the line. And I did not put, what I'm most especially worried about, Chris and Sabrina, is this critical services. I want to make sure we are going to take care of critical services, and we know what we have to do to take care of those critical services. I don't want to see in the middle of the year, we're not paying, for the Manamco's health insurance, or we're not, anything like that. I want that taken care of now, and I want to make sure tax refunds are paid promptly. So I just think it's fair, and I'm hoping that by writing these letters, we're just putting a little bit more pressure on the administration that get this information out now. This is not something we need to fight about. This is not something that we should even have to beg for. Can you provide the information?
Right, but Senator,
we can make our informed decisions.
I feel like, why isn't Senator Joe St. Augustine saying this? I mean, we have tried to get that guy on this show. It is impossible. We have reached out to him 7 to 8 times. I just messaged his chief of staff yesterday. I said, hey, and I'm scrolling up. There's just a bunch. I'm just being left on red. I said, dude, we've tried to get the senator on to talk about the budget, and we haven't got a response. So,
and I even messaged just this morning.
Yeah, and so Sabrina was like, okay,
yesterday
I'll go
and
in.
this morning.
When Sabrina gets involved, it's serious. So I told Joe Meskin, I said, hey, Sabrina's about to reach out to the senator, and if he doesn't respond, then we're just going to go on and we're going to say that we have asked Senator Joe St. Augustine to come on this show and explain to the people of Guam why we don't have accurate budget numbers, but he hasn't even refused. He hasn't responded at all. So
Did you by any chance get a press release that this press conference was for yesterday was happening, or a press release on the budget? Because I've been scouring. No, I mean Chris or you. I didn't even know there was a press conference until I spoke with Nestor last night. Yeah, Nestor.
I didn't know either, but so it was very clear from that conference, though, that when I watched it, that they've decided between the senator's office and the administration, they've pretty much decided on a revenue figure that they want to go with, and that they are going to adjust the budget accordingly. And it doesn't answer all the questions. Like they said, they're still waiting for the administration to give them new expenditure levels.
Right.
But I just think it's unfortunate. This is a time we want to go in, I think, looking like we are all together. We want to show that to the people of Guam, we have confidence in what we are going to predict. It's going to be tough, and it's of course a lot of unknowns, but we can be confident, and we're going to take care of you. You know what I mean? We are going to take care of you. We're going to make sure healthcare is taken care of. We're going to make sure safety is taken care of. We're going to make sure there's food on the table if that's what we need to do. And that's kind of why it's important. But I have confidence. I think it's a work in progress. Things change on them every day. So it's hard. It's very hard to be an OFB chair right now. I'll tell you that. I think Office of Finance and Budget, they have a task to do something that's been unprecedented, right? So when they try to predict what revenues are going to be, they're using federal funds, and that's really one of the details I want that to be very laid out.
Right.
They have different prediction of how federal funds will translate as revenue for the government of Guam, and so I just think it's fair that we get a full analysis of that, and if there are options that we are shown the options, and that we're very confident, because we're going to have to defend this to the public, whatever we go with, right? And
that's why it's frustrating, because just us in the media, we don't know what is going on despite repeated requests. And
I think this all goes back to what a lot of people are clamoring about, is for the checks and balances role that the legislature is supposed to play. This is a prime example of a sitting senator who is really looking nothing more like an emissary from Adelup. I mean, to me anyway. Senator, we're really out of time, but I just want to thank you for coming on.
Thank you.
And keep us posted about that, what happens in that meeting.
I will try my best. I feel there's this huge responsibility on me now, since I'm one of the few that are privileged to get in there. Yeah, and that's really a rough thing, and I just don't think it's right for Guam.
I'm pretty sure you can handle it. So Good luck, Senator.
Thank you.
Okay.
Go get him.
Have a good day.
Wear your mask, wash your hands. 7:21. We're just going to keep it in the Zoom room.
Mm-hmm.
With the recent surge in positive cases, as always, we want to fold someone in from the COVID-19 response on the medical side.
Can
Yes?
I just go ahead